All right. Good morning. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to day 3 of the Think and Grow Rich Masterclass. I'm super excited to be here today. Today is one of the most favorite subjects that I teach on paradigms because it really shows you guys, excuse me, all of the mental programs you have that are controlling all your results. I want you to think about this. When we're born into an environment. We don't choose where we're born. We can't choose the programs we receive. We don't choose any of that stuff. And it's not up until usually people in their late teens, early 20s, they even have any kind of a clue, if at all, that they might be able to change some of this stuff. Very rare that somebody in their teens, early 20s figures this out. And sadly enough, most people that do figure it out don't figure it out until they're in their 40s. And I was one of them. It was about age 40 or 41 before I really started to understand and tap in and study. I had studied to be an engineer. I had studied to be a pilot, and then I didn't study anything for like 20 years. Right. And if you think about that, we're conditioned in school to hate studying. We're given a bunch of books and subjects that we don't really resonate with. So we learn to kind of reject books, reject studying. We go to college because we know we got to get a career. We have to do it. But it's not usually something that we enjoy because we're not studying what we want. So we're going to flip the script on your entire life here this week. I want you guys to dig in. Don't undervalue this. I think that's the one thing that saddens my heart the most is that people don't value free. We run these master classes for free. We're giving you the same information that people that pay us $10K a month at very high levels to get. But I want to impact people. I want to get this out. We want to create this free content. I want to spark your journey and spark your mindset towards controlling your life. All right, guys, so let's get into it. Throw some fire in the chat if you're ready to go. Post where you're coming in from. I see we got Facebook ripping up here. We got people jumping on the Zoom. Let's go. Where are you coming in from? Again, guys, yesterday we talked about writing out a habit that isn't serving you. I wrote one out. I showed you guys. I went live. Writing out a habit that doesn't serve you. Like maybe you sleep in late and you want to change that. Get it out of you. Get it onto paper. Write it out. And then in a safe place, literally burn that thing, right? And we wanted you guys to post that in that chat. And in the Facebook group. So if you didn't do that, you can still go ahead and do that. Just have some fun with us, post in the group. And then the thing is to write out the polar opposite. Write out what you want. If you sleep in late, write out that I'm so happy and grateful that I spring out of bed at 6 a.m. in the morning with excitement and in a heavenly way. Write out the opposite. And then you literally read that every night when you go to bed multiple times. And you read it every morning when you get up. And you'll see that you can change habits this way. So make sure you're having some fun with us and playing along, guys. All right. So again, we did goal setting the other day. Today is paradigms. Tomorrow is probably the most impactful day of decision making. Make sure you're coming to the master class tomorrow. Make sure you're sharing this. Make sure you're bringing your notebooks because tomorrow is definitely the major day. But today we're going to talk about paradigms, probably my favorite subject to teach, as I was saying. And guys, I want you to think about this. There is a reason why 96% of the world's wealth is earned by 1% of us. I want you to think about that. I don't make this number up. 96, 97% of all the wealth in the world is controlled by actually less than 1% of the people, right? Think about that statistic. And I'm not sure where you guys are at. I think the number is something like over 600,000 a year in income puts you in the 1%, something like that. But why is this, right? Why is this? People get to retirement age, even here in America, right? 65, 70 years old, and they get to work at Home Depot and Walmart. Now, there's nothing wrong with working at Home Depot and Walmart if you're doing it for the social impact, right? If you're older and you're retired, you want to get out and socialize. I think it's a great thing to do, but it's a horrible way to earn money. It's minimum wage. There's no leverage. There's no scale. And people can be in this country and go through the entire school system, work 40 years, and still be stuck. I want you to really think about this. Some of this might be your parents, right? The people we love. And we have choices here, guys. We're showing you exactly what to do this week so that you can retire your parents, retire your spouse, retire yourself early, do what you love, right? These statistics I don't make up. There's people everywhere. Just look around you. They're working jobs they hate and they never follow their dreams. Why is this? Why don't we just go to school and learn how to follow our dreams and do what we love? Think about this, guys. Even people that are professional, lawyers, real estate agents, you might be in really good careers. You might still not love your career. You might be earning good money, but not doing what you love, right? I want you to think about this. All these jobs that people work, why do we do this? And the reason, guys, is we are simply not taught how to build wealth in schools. We're not taught how to go after what you love. We're not even given the options, right? Where we're shown a little bit of math, little science, little history, little English. You maybe, I don't even think they teach music anymore, right? Or acting classes, right? So we're taught all this stuff and we're not exposed to what we might love. Usually people are not exposed to, sometimes kids are exposed in sports if they're lucky and they find that journey and maybe they become a pro athlete, but you're talking about a fraction of 1%, right? That can literally play sports and earn a career from it. Very, very few people can do that. So the reason is we're simply not taught in schools. We're not taught decision making. Most of you are thinking you're making decisions, but you're not, right? We're not. And we can prove this because when it gets tough and there's resistance, we quit. So a decision is you push forward no matter what happens in the environment, no matter what happens with the results, you push, and you push forward until you achieve. See, decision, desire, the first part of that means to cut or to cut off in Latin. So when we make a decision, it's supposed to be do or die, right? We're not taught self-image. If we were taught self-image in school, we would not have all the teenage suicides from people getting bullied in both directions. We wouldn't care. These kids wouldn't care what other people thought. And you shouldn't care what other people think of you too. And I don't mean this in an ignorant way or an arrogant way. It's just that most people aren't thinking. And when kids are getting bullied in school, it's from the inferior self-images of the bullies, right? The people that are doing the damage. But if we were taught self-image, none of that would matter. And guys, we're certainly not taught wealth building. I wasn't taught wealth building. Almost nobody I know was taught wealth building at an early age. You know, we can take a kid in high school, they can get a job, right? They can get a paper route at age 12. They can work in a grocery store at age 15, 16, save their pennies. And by age 18, they could buy a 3-family building if they had good credit, which we could show them how to do. They could live in one apartment, rent out the other 2, be cash flow positive, have equity, and be able to leverage that and grow and scale. And then repeat. By age 30, they'd be multimillionaires. That's not even that hard of a thing to do, but we're not taught real estate. We're not taught anything about investing. We're not even taught how to balance a checkbook, right? So just think about the educational system. You can go to Harvard Business School and not learn anything about wealth building, right? And I'm not beating up on schools. There's a lot of benefits. You can learn a lot of things, but we're generally not taught wealth building. And guys, I guarantee you, we are not taught paradigms. In no school that I've ever gone to has there been anything that ever showed me the mind map that we show, that I have a conscious or subconscious body, how to program it for the results that I want. We weren't taught any of this stuff. So we're going to talk today a little bit more about paradigms. All right, guys, so make sure you get your thinking hats on, take notes. For those of you that are on the Zoom, you'll get the recordings of these, so don't worry about that. But a paradigm is a fancy word that we use to describe all of the mental programs that are stored in your subconscious mind from birth that are controlling all of your results, right? Think of your subconscious mind like an operating system. It's a blank operating system, and we're storing programs, right? When you're born, you don't have any programs, very few. You can't speak, you can't walk, right? You can't hardly do much of anything. If it weren't for your parents, we would literally die within a few hours, well, maybe a day, right? A brand new baby wouldn't live more than a couple of days without the parents feeding it. We're helpless, but we have the ability to get programmed into superhumans, if you think about it. Some of the things some people do, so that gives us the power over the animal kingdom, right? But we have all of these mental programs. They're given to you by other people over time. Those first 0 to 7 years are when they go right in your subconscious. You cannot reject them, and they're controlling all of your results. Like I said, guys, it's like your subconscious is like an operating system. It's the emotional mind. It stores programs. You guys never chose to speak the language that you're speaking, your native language. You might, in your adult life, learn a second language and choose to do that, and you learn that program. But when you're born, we don't choose that stuff. You don't choose your religion, right? Most people, even people that are very heavily religious, if you ask them, when did you choose that? When did you choose this religion? If you really ask them, they won't be able to tell you, usually speaking, right? It usually comes from birth, unless somebody's in their 30s and they decide to seek a religion. It's very rare though. Usually it comes from generational programming, and there's nothing wrong with that. I'm just highlighting how this all works. So we have this operating system, and the people that are programming the system are ignorant. Our parents completely ignorant, the school system's completely ignorant, generational ignorance. And again, guys, ignorance is not a bad term. It just means not knowing. So when you're born and you learn to walk, you have these mentors called your parents, and they take your little feet and they move you and they walk you, and they walk along the side of you. So we have mentors that mentor you through repetition to learn how to walk. If anybody here is a smoker, right, that is something that happens from your environment. Smoking is not a physical habit, right? Secondarily, it's a physical habit, but primarily it is a mental program stored in your subconscious, causing your body to go to the store, buy the cigarettes, and stick them in your face. Does that make sense, guys? This is why it's so hard to quit. Most people are trying to stop the physical habit instead of changing the mental program that causes the habit. It's like me looking at this light bulb and trying to get it to turn off without turning the switch. Does that make sense, guys? Throw some fire in the chat. I know it's early in the morning here, or it's actually not that early. We're hitting you pretty hard, but throw some fire in the chat if that's making sense, because I really want this to sink in, right? If anybody is overweight, generally speaking, that's not your fault. You were probably in an environment where there was bad eating habits all around you, especially in America, right? We shortcut everything. Families don't even sit down for dinner anymore. They'll nuke something and throw it on the table. And then you find the kids, you know, in high school and in college, overweight, and it's not their fault. They have all these programs, right? These kids in this picture didn't drive themselves to McDonald's. They didn't pay for it, right? So this is ignorance, generational ignorance. Now, there's nothing wrong with McDonald's in moderation, but it's all about moderation, right? There's nothing wrong with drinking alcohol in moderation either. It's all about ratios. So guys, wealth building is no different than overeating or smoking. It's just a series of mental programs stored in your subconscious mind, controlling your results. Now, most of you don't have the programs called wealth building. I did not have any wealth building programs until age 41. And that's nobody's fault. There's no blame. It just is, right? It's not anybody's fault. If you don't know, you don't know. But once we know, let's do something about it, right? Let's change this. Let's do something about it together. So wealth building is just a series of programs, and anybody can learn wealth building. It's actually not that hard, right? And the people in these pictures, if you think about it, people like Warren Buffett, Richard Branson, they don't think about building wealth, right? I don't think about building wealth anymore. I just wake up every single morning and do it. I have 20 revenue streams as of yesterday and growing, and I don't think about this anymore. You know, 10 years ago, I had to think about it. I had to change my paradigms through conscious decision. I had to invest in myself, hire a mentor, and follow a proven system. And then fast forward to today, 10 years later, we have 20 revenue streams and growing. And I don't say that to impress you guys. I use myself as an example. If I can do it, anybody can do it, right? If my daughter can do it, anybody can do it. There's so many people that we've helped. There's thousands of people that we've helped now all over the world. And it has nothing to do with the person. It has everything to do with following a proven system and raising the level of awareness. And yesterday, guys, we went over this, right? 100,000 a year, 500,000 a year, or 500,000 a month. There is no big or small. These are all just levels of awareness, and anybody can choose to learn this stuff, right? There's no such thing as big or small. The earth itself isn't big or small until you compare it to something like a golf ball or the universe. So the first thing you got to do is make a decision. Right? You got to make a decision on what you want. Never mind the how. If you knew how, you already would have done it. And then once we do that, we can start to work together. We have a 6-month program. We can take a deep dive and get you guys doing exactly what you want to do. And yesterday we talked about your current level of awareness, right? Right now, you're probably looking like this. Your income probably looks like this. And my income looks like this, right? I'm nowhere near my income goal. I'm a blank slate. I'm getting a new program. But here's the thing. I have really good habits. I'm open-minded. I listen to ideas. If I get an idea, I make quick decisions. I move. I don't get emotionally involved on if it's working or not, right? I have very, very good habits now towards wealth building. So I'm guaranteed to hit my goals because I've changed and I've installed the new programs. That makes sense, guys? So again, there's no fault. There's no blame here. At one point, you've all learned to do the impossible. If I'm guessing that nobody here is watching this webinar naked. I'm pretty sure you're not standing in front of the computer now completely naked. Like, you probably figured out how to get dressed this morning. And at one point, that was completely impossible for you. I want you to think about that. And if you've done the impossible once, you can do it again, right? So getting to 100K a month, what 100K a day is not impossible. It's just decisions and choice and raising your level of awareness. And I want you guys to think about how powerful this environment is. Most of you probably know somebody that's a corrections officer. There's nothing wrong with being a corrections officer. They're sold on the idea that, hey, listen, put your 20 years in, you get like 6 weeks vacation, you get retirement for life, just put your 20 years in and you can retire early at like age 50 or something. Well, that's 20 years of your life, man. 20 years of your life to get, a pittance of a pension, right? And we're sold on the idea like it's a good idea. You're literally going to prison for 20 years, right? Every single day for 20 years, with the idea that you're going to get a guaranteed pension for the rest of life. What if we taught you in 1 year how to build income that would pay you every single day for the rest of your life, and you didn't have to go to jail to do it, right? And again, I'm not beating up on anybody here. There's nothing wrong with being a CEO, but usually it's generational. My dad was a CEO. My grandfather was a CEO. Generational programming, right? I went into engineering because I followed my brother into machine drafting in high school. I didn't make that choice. I'm like, he did it, I'll follow him. Seems like a good idea. Worked out very well for me, and I thank God for my brother every day. But the reality is, I just followed him in the system, right? The military is the same thing, and I have a huge spot in my heart for military. If there's any military here, anywhere seeing this, God bless you and your families. I really appreciate the service you give. You lay your lives on the line. I mean, the commitment there is just unparalleled. So we have a huge sweet spot for the military. But if you think about it, usually military is generational. Like my brother, my dad, excuse me, my grandparents, it's usually generational programming. And we graduate high school, and if we don't know what to do, it doesn't seem like a bad idea. And then we go in there, and it's usually not what we were sold on. I've talked to a lot of military people, and they're usually sold on the idea of one thing, and they get in and they find out it's something different. Nurses, doctors, same thing. My parents, we have a new client, Giovanni, right? New TIR client, Giovanni. He told me, yeah, my parents said that engineering is a good idea. I should go to engineering school. So he did. And he's doing well, but he's in a career that he doesn't love. He doesn't hate it. Some days he hates it, but he doesn't love it. And there's no wealth building. That you can't build any wealth as an engineer unless you use it as a stepping stone to start a company, or you take the money you earn and you do other things with it. But it's still just a glorified hourly paycheck or a salary paycheck. I used to be an engineer, so I'm not beating up on you guys either. That's not a bad way to spend your time, as long as you're not doing it to earn money, right? If you're an engineer because you love being an engineer, that's great. Let's show you how to build money with leverage and scale and having multiple revenue streams. So here's another example of generational programming. I broke the chain in my family. If you go backwards in the lineage of my family, there was no billionaires. There was no real entrepreneurs that I know of. My dad did pretty well as a VP of a company. But again, he put in his 40 years. There was nobody in the lineage of my family who was an entrepreneur. So I broke that chain. Well, guess what? My little offspring, 10 years old, she heard how I was a talk. Used to have talks in the hot tub about this stuff. And in her teens, she started studying this material, right? And by the time she got out, now she's 25 years old. She's got 4 or 5 revenue streams, has her own company, comes and goes as she pleases. She's got the man of her dreams. She's physically fit. I mean, mentally, spiritually, financially, physically, she has everything checked off, and she's living a heavenly life. Imagine if you could pass that on to your kids. Never mind you guys. If you have kids, imagine if you could study this stuff, pass it off to them so they didn't have to repeat some of the mistakes that you might have made. This has been the biggest blessing of my entire life, is not so much for myself, but to be able to pass it on to the people I love. So it's all about decision, guys. And tomorrow is going to be decision day. We're going to teach you what that is. Play along with me here, guys. Take a look at this picture. I'm going to open up the chat here. Play along with me. What is this? We did this yesterday. We showed you a baby picture. What does this picture represent to you guys? Obviously, it's a hot mess. Joy. Andrea says joy. What else does this look like, guys? Enjoying the ride. I love that one. Learning to eat. Yeah, learning. Yeah, this is learning a program. Look how messy. Satisfaction. Experimenting. Love it. Love it. Yeah. Right. Well, guys, guess what? This is still you. This is you from yesterday, but this is you trying new things. Maybe you're starting a network marketing company. Maybe you're learning to day trade. Maybe you're learning to be a realtor, but maybe you're trying to do something to build leverage and scale. I want you to really think about this, guys, right? Because what the only difference here is this baby's having fun and some of you are not. You try new things, it doesn't go your way, you get frustrated, angry, upset, you get into a low vibration. You are actually self-sabotaging yourself because you don't understand, just like the comments, it's about enjoying the damn ride. You got to enjoy the ride, guys. The goal is not to hit the goal, it's to enjoy the ride, it's to grow and stretch and experience. Sometimes you'll lose money, sometimes you'll make money. If you do this right, you'll make more than you lose, right? But you can't take a hit in day trading, curl up in a ball and put a negative spin on it. You're paying for education. I work with so many traders. They get all twisted when they blow their account, but they spent 50K, 100K on college and aren't even doing the thing they spent 100K on. And they get all twisted when they blow a 2K account. You're paying for information, guys. You get into network marketing. My friend Jordan Adler tried 10 different companies over 11 years in network marketing, had zero success. And then it was his 11th company that he had success on. 10 years later, he went on to make, I think, 40 or 50 million and growing, right? And is largely successful. He travels the world. He's going to be the first network marketer in the space with Richard Branson, right? So he spent 10 years, now 40, 50 million. He's making more than a brain surgeon that spends 12 years in school, making way more, having way more fun, no responsibilities, right? Living a heavenly life. So think about that. There's people all over the world that spend 12 years in education and they barely crack 500 grand a year, right? So guys, this is still you trying new things, but you got to do what this baby's doing. You got to enjoy the ride. Stop beating yourself up, right? And here's the biggest thing, guys. I really want you to listen to this. Put your phones down, pay attention. Whatever's going on in your life, physically, spiritually, emotionally, relationships, income, if you're not getting the results you want, it is not your fault. You can't blame yourself. Don't blame your parents either. Even if you had a horrible upbringing with an alcoholic parent, that's not their fault. Everybody's doing the best they can with the mental programming they have. It's not the school's fault either. Stop blaming people. Don't blame yourself. Don't blame anybody. Like, drop all that baggage, drop all the bullshit. What you want to do is focus on today and the future. Be grateful for what you have and focus on what do you want. That's two things you do. And if you do that, you're guaranteed to win, guys, guaranteed to win. Think about the environment. What we're doing here for the people that are going to work with us, we're going to change your mental environment for 6 months. And we're going to put you in the mental environment of millionaires and billionaires, right? So if you had grown up with Warren Buffett as your dad, where would you be right now? Think about that. I don't know Warren yet personally. I don't know if he's a good guy or a bad guy, but at least financially, where do you think you'd be? You'd be a billionaire and you wouldn't think anything of it. You would have learned the language from birth called billionaire, right? Really think about this, guys. It's not about you. It's about the environment that you put yourselves into, right? So when we talk about paradigm, this means mindset, right? All the mental programs causing your physical body to do stuff, or operating system. So the only thing holding you back is your paradigm. It's not you. It's the mental programs given you by other people. You got to decide if you want to change it. Your financial results, your physical fitness, relationships, spirituality, this is all controlled by the mental programs given to you by other people. All right, guys, I'm gonna take a little water break here. Put some fire in the chat if this is resonating, because I want to make sure that I'm explaining this in a way that makes sense. And guys, on Friday, we're gonna have open Q&A. Don't forget about Friday. Write your questions down, bring them. We're gonna have open Q&A for you guys. All right, you gotta hydrate. They say hydrate or die, right? Let's keep this train rolling. I want you guys to think about this. Play along in the chat. This is not a trick question. What does this look like to you guys? What does this look like to you guys? Anybody take a guess? I mean, obviously it's a dude delivering a pizza. Renee, transmutation of energy. She's a client, she's cheating. Yeah, that's what this is. If you've ever ordered a pizza, you are in a transmutation of energy. And this is no difference than getting to $100,000 a month. Now, you're probably rejecting that idea based on your paradigm. But I know for a fact there's no difference. If you can order a pizza, you can get to 100K a month. It's the conscious mind that changes the relationship here. But when you order a pizza, you get an idea. It goes from the conscious to the subconscious, causes the body to pick up the phone, call the pizza dude, order a pizza. And next thing you know, they are transmuting your energy into the physical form of a pizza. They think they're working. They call it work. They don't know what the hell's going on. They're just doing what you asked. And then the next thing you know, a pizza shows up, right? It's the same thing for building a company. I get an idea in my head. Oh, I should build a software company. I sat down, wrote out what I knew on paper, had a partner of mine. We chatted about it. We masterminded back and forth. We figured out everything we had and everything we didn't. Then we started calling people. We went on Facebook even. We put out there, hey, is anybody a software programmer, right? And then we found one. And then we started working with them. Then we put in a few bucks, right? We raised some money. Then we went off to the races, built a software company. It's no different. Zero difference, guys. And that company is one of the things going to lead me to multi-billions, right? Software, global company. So think about this. We speak everything into existence. It's just that most people are saying, what a crappy day it is out there. Can't believe I'm stuck in traffic. Dude, thank God you have a car in the first place, right? They look at their body. Oh, I hate my body. Thank God you're walking. If you can walk, if you can see and speak, you have all the tools to build wealth, right? So we speak everything into existence. You just don't realize when you're speaking the nonsense, the complaining, the BS, right? You're looking at stuff, you're looking at the wrong end of the deal. You're looking at the fear instead of the faith. So we speak everything into existence, guys. It's very important. Look at this guy here. Anybody know this guy, Jeff Bezos? Look at how hunched over he is in 1998 and how jacked he is in 2017, right? Even his body changed and his stature, because in 1998, he was broke selling books, right? In the beginning of the internet. Now he sells whatever the F he wants. So if this guy can do it, I promise you, most of you here are way better off than Jeff Bezos was in 1998. You probably have more money, more circumstance. You definitely have more opportunity. I can promise you that. It's just different programming. Does this make sense, guys? Red pill or blue pill? I like that. Melodious says there is no pill. So think about that. This is a transmutation of energy. Now, where were you in 1998 and where are you now? Some of you might not have been born, but I certainly was, right? General Electric closed the plant I was in 1998 when this guy had the idea. If I was at a higher level of awareness, I might have invested in Amazon as soon as he started to raise money, right? But I didn't. I was not aware. So this is a transmutation of energy as well, guys. All right, all right. So I love this little guy. You can tell I love the baby theme, right? Guys, here's what I want you to understand. You're an expression of God, and whatever you believe in is whatever you believe in. You're an expression of the universe, right? The universe is infinite, and therefore we are a subset of that. So you're an expression of God. But what does this mean, right? An easier way to look at this is to say that you are a conduit for energy flow. That's really what the deal is. Energy is always running to and through us. Most of us don't know that, so we don't know what the hell to do with it. But it's always running to and through this. But what does this mean? We're a conduit for energy flow. Well, take a look at this picture, right? You have a light switch and a light bulb. The wire connecting the switch to the bulb, or the cause to the effect, is called a conduit. You are a conduit. But guys, take a look at this picture and let me know. I'm gonna open up the chat again here. What is wrong with this picture? Take a look at this picture and type in the chat, what do you see that's wrong with this picture? Anybody see anything wrong? I'll give you guys a couple seconds here. We have a switch, a wire, and a bulb. When you look at this picture, what do you see that's wrong? All right, everybody get that one right away. The switch is off. Yeah, the switch is off, but the light is on. You might not be able to see that well here, but the light bulb in this picture is on, right? So this is what most people are doing. Most of you guys are still doing this. You got the switch off, but you expect the light to be on. You're working as an entrepreneur, you have side revenue streams, but you have fear and doubt and worry, and you're believing, you have negative thoughts, right? What if it doesn't work? I've been in this for 3 months, it's not working yet. I blew my account yesterday. You know, the real estate market, like there's nothing for sale. Any negative thoughts you have at all, you're turning the switch off. It could be negative thoughts about anything. It could be your body. It doesn't even have to be in your revenue stream. If you think, what if I catch COVID and the economy sucks and Biden sucks? If you have negative thoughts at all, this is low vibration, right? Towards anything. We want to stop having negative thoughts about anything, not just your income streams. Does this make sense, guys? So it's just a negative mindset that we want to stop. We want to be positive about everything. Always look for what's good. Have that positive energy flow, because you're a conduit for energy flow. And if you don't think thoughts become things, where the hell do we get the iPhone from? Or anything else? You can't put your hand on anything that didn't originate in thought. Think about, even if you pick up a rock, and I'll let you guys figure that one out yourself, but look around you. I can't pick up this banana without somebody somewhere that had a thought to plant, a banana farm and harvest the bananas and ship them all over the world, right? Thoughts become things, and your goal has to start as a thought, but it needs to be a dominant thought. It needs to be a consistent thought. It needs to be held in a high vibration. Just making sense, guys? And the paradigm is what controls all of the thoughts that you have. It controls all of your habits, right? And what we want to do here is realize that anytime you say you can't, or you have doubt, or worry, or fear, or lack, or here's a big one, what will other people think? Guys, other people aren't thinking. Stop worrying about even people in your family. Your spouse is probably not thinking unless they're studying this stuff. And I don't mean that in a negative way. It's just the truth, right? The truth shall set you free. If they're not studying in their mind, then they're not probably thinking. They're probably doing stuff they don't want to do, living in a body that they would like to be better, right? So we constantly ask financial advice from people that aren't thinking. Don't ask your plumber for financial advice, right? I told you guys this, I only take financial advice from people like Ray Dalio, billionaires, multi-billionaires. I don't even take financial advice from millionaires, because I'm not trying to be a millionaire. I'm already a millionaire, right? The goal of multi-billionaire, I can only study from other people that have demonstrated by their results that they have got there. So a good example, if you desire to have multiple revenue streams, well, I have 20. I would probably be a good teacher for you, at least until you met and or passed me. Does that make sense, guys? So make sure you're getting mentors that have demonstrated by their results. And when I tell you most people aren't thinking, and the smokers are going to hate me for this one, if you're smoking, you're not thinking. Plain and simple, right? You're not thinking if you're smoking. You're spending money on something that one by one is literally killing you. And it's not your fault. It's environmental programming, and it's ignorance, right? And listen, I have habits that aren't serving me that I'm working on. I'm not claiming to be perfect. I'm rowing the same boat of ignorance in some things, but this is a good example, right? So stop worrying about what other people think, because most people aren't thinking. Does that make sense, guys? Most of you guys are freezing up because of what people you work with think, or your friends or your family. And the fact is, sadly, they're not thinking. So you got to let that one go, guys, right? You wouldn't work with ice cubes if you were cold. So why would you talk to somebody about your marriage unless they were in a blissful long-term marriage, right? Why would you talk to somebody about finances unless they were a billionaire? You wouldn't work with ice if you're cold, but a lot of you are still doing this. We would only work with heat. So this is what you're doing. When you say, I can't, you have doubt or worry or fear, right? You're working with ice to get warm. And what you want to do is only work with things that'll get you warm, right? You would work with turning up the thermostat. You might build the fire. You might put a sweater on. You wouldn't even think about turning the AC on or getting ice cubes if you're trying to get warm. So why would you even think about listening to other people that don't know what the hell they're talking about? Make sense, guys? You want to say, I can. You want to have faith. You want to understand what gratitude is. And who cares what other people think? If there's one piece of advice today that I could give you, is to stop caring about what other people think. And like I said, I don't mean that in an arrogant way. I just mean it in a highly aware way. You got to control your life. You got to make the decisions. You got to do what most people around you are not doing, right? We have to do the opposite of what most people are doing unless we want their results. All right, guys. So again, if you can do this, you can do this. The subconscious mind does not know the difference. We can show you how to install new programs called wealth building right into your subconscious mind. There's a blueprint, right? It's called Thinking into Results. Think about that title, Thinking into Results. Thoughts become things. And anybody can do this, guys. And I told you guys before, wealth is 95% mindset. It's also 95% decision. You got to make decisions, right? But it's only about 5% what you're doing. You don't have to change everything about your life. You just need to change the programs that are controlling your results, right? It's all about mindset, mindset, mindset. And you just learned today that mindset equals paradigm, right? We need to install the programs. That's why we call our company the Matrix, by the way. It's after the movie. When Neo plugs in and they install new programs, we can do that. Now, we can't plug into the back of your head yet, but we can show you exactly how to install the new programs, guys. If I can do it, I promise you can. All right, guys, so the homework for today is to write out on a piece of paper all the things in your life, right? So we have physically, spiritually, mentally, relationships, and financially. So write out those 5 categories and write them out where you are today, maybe on a scale of 1 to 10. If it's financial, you can put the exact number, how much you're worth and how much you're earning a year, right? But physically might be on a scale of 1 to 10. Where are you now? Write this out. Spiritually, you got to take, on a scale of 1 to 10, where do you think you at? Relationships, honest opinion, where are you at? The most important ones, if you're married, things like that, your kids. But those 5 categories, physically, spiritually, mentally, relationships, and financially. And then I want you to grade those where you are now, but more importantly, where do you want to be in 5 years? And I want you to actually do this. I want you to take pictures when you're done, post them in the chat, right? And not the chat, but the Facebook group. And where do you want to be in 5 years? And I want you to actually do this. I told you that the only time we're thinking is when we're writing or trying to solve new problems, right? So I want you to actually do this, guys. Play along with, get into the chats, get into the Facebook group, play along with us. Yesterday was goal setting. Today's paradigms. Tomorrow is going to be decision making. The most impactful lesson we have is on decision making. This is what freezes most people. Most of you are not good at decision making, right? And again, we all have mentors. Everything I shared with you today is not my opinion. It's physics and science based on the world's wealthiest people, how they think and act and operate. It's been passed on since the late 1800s all the way to me. I'm giving it here to you for free, and we're showing you a blueprint for success. That's what this week is all about, right? It's decision-making time. I don't want you to just watch this program this all week and then not make any changes. And guys, I want you to play along with me one last time before we hang up here today. Take a look at this picture, right? In all of recorded history, all throughout the world, there's been tribes that have done rain dances from all different cultures. And almost none of them have continued success, right? Almost none of them have continued success. There's only been one tribe in all of history that has been able to consistently make it rain every single time they do a rain dance. And I want you to post in the chat, why do you think this one tribe out of millions of tribes in history, they were able to make it rain every time they danced and everybody else was more sporadic? Can you guys take a guess? And if you know the answer, if you've seen this before, don't guess. We got a couple of people saying faith. Anybody else? They believed. I love that. It's definitely a component, but it's not the answer. Expectation. Anybody else? Why does this one tribe, every single time they danced, it rained? They planted it in the paradigm. Part of that, you guys are partially correct. There we go. They never gamed up. They danced until it rained. Think about that. They danced until it rained, whether it was 3 hours, 3 days, or 3 weeks, they danced until it rained. That's what you got to do as an entrepreneur, guys. You cannot think, you cannot wish, you cannot hope. You need to make decisions, which is what tomorrow's about. If you're an entrepreneur, if you're trying to live like the 1%, and I don't mean money, I mean a heavenly life, you need to learn what faith is. You need to make decisions. You need to learn how to raise your level of awareness. You got to be in a high vibration, and you absolutely have to dance until it rains. All right, guys, I'm going to leave you guys on this quote. Doing what you like is freedom. Liking what you do is happiness. Until tomorrow, guys, be well. God bless. Please play along with the homework. Post it in the group. I love and appreciate you all. We'll see you tomorrow.